silent, slippery, mysterious. Snakes are some of the most underrated creatures on Earth. They scare, delight, and amaze. But who are they really? Today we take a deeper look into their world than ever before. Snakes are some of the most ancient and mysterious creatures on the planet. They evoke a variety of emotions in people, from fear to admiration. Since time immemorial, snakes have played an important role in myth, religion, and culture. In some cultures, they were considered symbols of evil, such as the biblical story of the tempting serpent in the Garden of Eden, while in others, they were symbols of wisdom, healing, and renewal. But beyond symbols, snakes are real, complex creatures that play an important role in nature. Scientifically, snakes are a class of reptiles. They evolved from lizards, and one of the main distinguishing features of snakes is the lack of limbs. But this does not mean that they are simply legless lizards. They have a unique body structure that allows them to glide, climb trees, swim, and even burrow into the sand. Interestingly, some species, such as boas and pythons, still have vestigial remains of their hind limbs, small bones or spines near the cloaca. A snake's spine can include up to 400 vertebrae, far more than most other vertebrates. This makes the snake's body surprisingly flexible. They have no sternum, and their ribs are mobile, allowing them to expand their chest when swallowing large prey. Snakes have no eyelids. Their eyes are covered with transparent protective scales that are shed along with the skin when they shed. They cannot hear sounds in the usual sense, but they are good at detecting vibrations. Their hearing apparatus is connected to their lower jaw, so snakes can hear the ground. Their forked tongue is not just an odd detail. It is used to analyze smells. The tongue catches odors from the air and transmits them to a special Jacobson's organ on the palate, which smells the collected particles. One of the most amazing abilities of snakes is thermal location. It is especially well developed in pit vipers, such as rattlesnakes. They have special depressions between their eyes and nostrils that can capture thermal radiation. Thanks to this, they can see warm-blooded prey even in complete darkness. Snakes live almost everywhere. In tropical forests, deserts, swamps, steppes, and even in the seas. For example, sea snakes are perfectly adapted to life in salt water. Some spend almost their entire lives in the water. There are tree snakes that live on branches and can even glide, spreading their bodies while jumping from tree to tree. Molting is an important process for snakes. They shed their skin regularly, sometimes up to 5 to 6 times a year. This helps not only to grow, but also to get rid of parasites. Interestingly, before shedding, the snake's vision may become cloudy. The eye scales become milky blue. During this period, snakes become more irritable. The diet of snakes varies depending on the species and size. Small snakes eat insects and frogs, medium-sized ones eat rodents and birds, and large ones can attack wild boars, deer and even crocodiles. An anaconda, for example, can swallow a whole capybara, the largest rodent in the world. After a large meal, a snake may not eat for several weeks or even months. There are cases when pythons ate such large prey that they died due to an internal rupture. The body simply could not withstand it. Snakes do not chew. They do not have chewing muscles. But their jaws are designed in a special way. The left and right sides can move independently of each other. This allows the snake to literally crawl onto its prey, sucking it in pieces. The throat and esophagus are very elastic, as is the skin, which makes it possible to swallow prey 2 to 3 times wider than its own head. Venomous snakes are a separate topic. About 1/4 of all snake species are venomous. However, much less are deadly to humans. Most poisons are used in hunting, not for protection. Cobras, mambas, kraits, taipans, vipers and other venomous snakes produce a complex chemical cocktail that can cause paralysis, tissue destruction, blood clotting. But at the same time, it is from snake venom that medicines are produced. Painkillers, drugs for the treatment of stroke, hypertension, even some anti-cancer compounds. Non-venomous snakes hunt differently. Boas and pythons strangle their prey by wrapping themselves around the body and squeezing it with each exhalation. Some snakes rely on speed and a sharp throw. For example, rat snakes, which can often be found in villages, are real helpers in the fight against pests. Reproduction in snakes is also varied. Some lay eggs, others give birth to live young. Some even carry eggs inside the body, and already formed snakes emerge from them. At the same time, snakes do not care for their offspring. The young are independent from the first day. It is surprising that they already instinctively know how to hunt and avoid danger. Snakes play an important role in ecosystems. They regulate the number of rodents and other small animals, preventing outbreaks of diseases. Without snakes, for example, the number of rats in rural areas would increase, and this is a threat to crops and human health. Doctors and scientists value snakes for the ability to create medicines based on their venom. And in some countries, snakes are even bred on farms. There are also amazing cases of interaction between humans and snakes. For example, in India, cobras are an object of worship. There are festivals in their honor, and snake charmers play flutes. Although snakes do not hear music, they react to movement. In Southeast Asia, you can find a snake village, where locals live side by side with cobras and even keep them at home as a symbol of good luck. There are many interesting facts about snakes. The garter snake can gather in balls of hundreds of individuals for winter hibernation. Eel-like sea snakes can spend up to 2 hours underwater without breathing. The African spitting cobra is able to accurately spit venom into the eyes of an enemy from a distance of up to 2 meters. And some snakes have the ability to mimic. For example, the king snake copies the coloring of the venomous coral snake to scare off predators. Even headless snakes can move and bite for several hours. Their nervous system is designed in such a way that it allows them to remain active even after a fatal injury. This reminds us that snakes are amazingly tenacious and resilient creatures. So snakes are not just dangerous creatures to be feared. They are amazingly complex and useful elements of nature. They are important to ecosystems, they inspire discovery, and even in their frightening appearance, they teach us to respect life in all its forms. Understanding and learning about snakes helps us to be wiser, more attentive to nature, and less susceptible to prejudice. A snake may be a symbol of evil, but in reality it is simply God's creation, with its own function, order, and place in the world.